Hey, Charlie Murphy here. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, interesting right off the bat. Table three, short stack recreational player 3x opens the button. I 3-bet the small blind, get a Jack 8-5 rainbow board, a continuation bet small, and he min raises me. Recreational players tend to raise the flops too much too lightly and then call off too lightly, so I'm going to go back over the top with my top pair top kicker, try to get the money in now. Against ace 6, not sure what he's doing, but happy to get the money in good all the same. Table 4, blind on blind, facing a 3x open. I'll 3-bet king 10 suited. Table 3, I'll open 7s on the button. Face a 3-bet from the big blind, standard size from 2.5 to 11. Big blinds slightly tighter than small blinds, but we're still in the button formation. It's the usual size, so the pocket pairs, especially a pair as strong as 7s, can be a defend. We'll take the flop. Decent flop for 7, 6, 6, 5 rainbow. About as good as I could ask for, short of flopping the third 7, I suppose. Yeah, I've got hands like 5, 6, pocket 5s, quad 6s, and maybe some hands like 6, 7 in there as well. The continuation bets 1/3. Float with my pocket 7s for sure. Table 2, just going to probe my airball here rather than check fold. No limped pot. Calls river is the jack. Not going to just show down my 8 high, so I'll go ahead and barrel once more. Table 1, 2.5 open from the button. I'll 3-bet out of the big blind with pocket 10s. Table 3, ace turn overcard. Face a second barrel, half pot. Get raised here with my 8 high bluff. I'll just go ahead and fold that. This is fairly marginal here at this point. The 7 obviously is a great card. Size I still need to be calling, I believe. Table 2, opening queen 8 suited, blind on blind. Follows through with the triple off. It's kind of a neutral at best sort of spot. I'm going to go ahead and fold. I'm going to go ahead and check the low board blind on blind out of position on table 2. Against the half pot stab with the overcards, backdoor flush draw. I'm going to go, or single overcard. Go ahead and check call that once. A little bit close. Got the backdoor flush draw. I would fold it for sure. Second turn barrel, don't pick up any equity on that 5 of hearts turn. I will check fold. Table 3, I've got king 6 suited in middle position. Going to go ahead and bring that one in. King 10, kind of a marginal open under the gun on this table. It just seems like all regged, so I'm going to go ahead and let that one go. Table 4, blind on blind. I'm facing a 3x open. I will defend king 5 suited. Defend this one for a call. I guess you could 3-bet it some if you wanted. I prefer to call that one. You can mix and match some suited hands in there to 3-bet. It doesn't make too much difference which ones you do. Get an ace king 9 two-tone board. I've got second pair weak kicker, no back doors. You face a quarter pot Continuation bet. I will call that. Go to the turn. Turn the 10 of diamonds. Does close the Broadway straight. He checks. I'm content to check this back. Not a whole lot in the way of scary cards. I mean, you can get some 4 straight Broadways out there or flush closures. The hand doesn't have really all that much value to bet and get called by a ton of worse. Especially with lots of marginal ace-x can go into a check call line. He goes ahead and block bets the river for about a quarter. I don't think there's much reason to try to get cute and raise that there. I mean, it could even be blocking the second pair type hands that might fold. I think it's just going to be a standard call. Be beat a lot by weak aces, and I am there, but odds are too good to really ever consider folding that hand and just got to show it down. Table 4, button opens 2.5. I'm in the small blind with pocket 7s. Going to go after these button opens quite a bit. Definitely going to 3-bet pocket 7s here as a standard play. That went through. New table, table 3. In direct position to a half stack. Face a 3x open blind on blind. Often with 3-bet a hand like ace deuce. I'm going to be a bit more cautious with my junky 3-bets blind on blind against a rec. And I'm going to assume the half stack is a rec. I'll just take the flop with ace deuce here. Table 2, an open queen 10 in middle position. Slightly loose, but going after the shorter stacked over here. Got a player that's limped. He limp re-raised, but limped a couple of times. Keep an eye on that. Table 3, the half stack continuation bets just over half pot on king 8-6 two-tone. I've got no real piece of it. Just go ahead and fold that one. Table 2, the cutoff is flatting a raise first, then keep an eye on that. He's already played a couple of hands for a call, possible recreational player there. We'll see what else he does for making a final determination on that. Get a 6-5 deuce two-tone board. I've got overcards but no back doors. I'll just go ahead and check to him. Table 3, 3x cutoff open. I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet out of the small blind with ace 10 suited. Table 2, he checks through, turn as a 3 of clubs, putting a 4 straight out there and a second backdoor flush draw. I'm just going to continue checking my queen high. Table 3, the big blind cold flash 3-bet. Heads up here, get a jack 6-5 two-tone board. I'm going to continuation bet that small. Overcards let me semi-bluff on the gut shot. The 7 of clubs closing the flush draw does not really help my hand at all. The ace 10 of hearts. I'll go ahead and check that one. Consider reopening the river as a bluff if it checks through. Pair up an ace or a 10 for some showdown value. Goes ahead and he stabs 1/3. Thought that was kind of fishy, but he's using a reg type size. So, confused as to the status of this guy here as well too, but I'll go ahead and check fold the ace 10 there with no real equity for sure. Blind on blind, table 3, gonna go ahead and open ace 8, table 2 rather, I'm sorry. Get an ace 9-3 rainbow board, I'll continuation bet small, and then go into check down lines, check call lines, unless I pair up my 8 most likely. Table 4, 2.5 open from the cutoff, I am in the big blind with 8-7, that's probably a little bit loose to be defending here. Yeah, I mean, if I thought the guy was a wreck, it'd be another story. I think that's a little bit much, the best. Table 4, 2.5 open from the button in the small blind with aces. Gonna go ahead and 3-bet. Face a 4-bet. About a standard size 11 to 24. Obviously very happy with that result when I'm sitting on the stone cold nuts, at least pre-flop. Jam kings, queens, ace king, maybe ace 5 suited as a bluff. Can call some pocket pairs like jacks and tens, a lot of my suited broadways, and I'm good to trap with aces here to keep his bluffs in. So I will defend for a call. I'm going to check the 10-8 deuce two-tone flop. No spade in my hand, so it's slightly more vulnerable than if I have the ace of spades. Can also have top set here. Can have a hand like queen jack for a gut shot. Various flush draws with 2 overcards. I'm going to take my continuation range and play it as a check jam, whether it's the gut shots, whether it's a set of tens, whether it's aces. We're going to go ahead and check jam this in. Not really going to have too much of a flatting range here. Can check jam pocket jacks if I had called queens as opposed to jamming them. Could check jam those. Fold some of my stuff with no real equity. The ace and king high hands that don't have a flush draw. Table 4, open an ace jack from the button. Face a large 3-bet from a short stack. It's the guy playing 75 blinds deep. It's a little bit dicey to go ahead and 4-bet, even to 25, a third of my stack. I guess you can still 4-bet about to that rate and still have hands that can fold versus jam. But you don't want to have too many at that point, as the stacks are shallower. The other thing is, I tend to think these guys are fishy and a bit more passive, so a hand like ace-jack really shouldn't be in a defense range at that point. Even ace-queen is a little bit questionable. That might be the 4-bet bluff combo with hands like ace-jack, ace-10, king-queen folding out. Didn't see it, but my HUD tells me this guy limp called King 9 offsuit, so I think I'm going to go ahead and put him in the recreational player range as opposed to just a suspected rec. I think it's pretty safe to say that's not something regs are doing. Table 1, min open for middle position. I'm in the small blind with pocket 9, so we're going to get in there for the 3-bet. Table 2, going to open ace-queen under the gun. Shuffle at table 4. The one suspected rec is direct position on me, and he's not really playing all that fishy 25-15. Look for better tables. Confirmed rec here. Guy seems pretty reliably as a rec. This guy's not reloading. Keep an eye on that too. So sure to Mika, this guy he uses some reg type sizings. He had like a weird limpy, trappy play with aces. Limped, ISO'd 3-bet, then he cold called the ISO 3-bet with aces. Keep an eye on him. He is using some small reg type bet sizes in some spots too, so not sure what to think of him quite yet. Switch out table 4. Queen 10 in the middle position on table 3. These guys have been nitty thus far. The first couple over at suspected wreck in the big blinds. I'll push one that's kind of close here based on thinking I won't get 3-bet that much if these guys trend nitty, and this guy is a potential wreck. Optional, doesn't need to be done, but I think it's okay to get in there if you think you have a chance to play with fish, or you're going to pick up the blinds, or at least get to the flop a bit more often than you should. Middle position on table 1, I will open King 10 suited. It's another open limp. We'll check in the big blind with 9 deuce. Get a queen jack 6 two-tone board. I'll just be check folding this against a bet. Sure what that bet size was there. It's about 70%. So that guy's using some kind of preset button. He is playing an open limp strategy. He's gone anyway, so who cares what he is or isn't doing. I don't think he was a wreck. I think he's a weird reg. Table 1, gonna open King 8 on the button. Three X open on the button on table 3, and the recreational small blind comes along. I'm in the big blind with 3 deuce suited. This one's a little bit on the loose side. I think I'll go ahead and let it go, especially without these guys being deep enough to really justify trying to hit something screwy with the low suited connector. Table 2, face a check on kings or 10-6 deuce two-tone. I go ahead and put in a small continuation bet and I take it down. Table 1, going to open queen 7 suited from what is effectively the cutoff right now. Shuffle that table out as the only suspected reg has moved along, so I'll move along as well. Table 2, opening king 9 from the cutoff. There's a recreational player on the button I don't mind playing with. Table 3, half stack open limps the button. I'm going to isolate from the small blind with jack 9 suited. Table 2, the in position player calls me as well as the big blind. Sandwiched between both these guys. I'm going to go ahead and check my range on 7-4 deuce two-tone. Quickly checks through. Turn is the board pairing deuce, putting a second flush draw up there. Consider start stabbing my overcards. Maybe it's a little bit loose. Squeeze opportunity on table 3. 3x open from a player that's playing a little bit short. Fold against the pro bet on table 2. Recreational player flats. I'm on the button with ace 10 suited. Seems like a good one to go after here. Pretty standard 3-bet, honestly. I'm going to go ahead and put in my 3-bet. Might not be as loose and crazy with some of the lower suited connectors here just because this guy's short and you can just decide he's not folding. So maybe I won't be expanding my range quite as much, but suited broadways, pocket 8s, pocket 9s are better, that kind of stuff, still good. Couple of wheel aces, ace queen, ace king, king queen, that kind of stuff. Maybe get some ace jack type stuff in there. Face a cold 4-bet over my squeeze. I like the sizing. I think the sizing's pretty good. I think ace 10 is just asking for trouble defending against a cold 4-bet here. He has also been nitty through the first two orbits. Not that it means too much of anything over a small sample. No broken stacks or short stacks on these tables, but we'll give them a whirl and see how everybody's playing for an Arbiter 2. I'm not finding any tables with obvious recreational players based on stack size tells. Point 5x open from the button and the new table 4. I'll fold Jack 4 in the small blind. And this guy sitting on 80 blinds, not reloading. Table 4, 2.5x open from the button. I'm in the big blind with ace queen. Gonna go ahead and go after him there with that. Comes along for the call, getting 8 deuce deuce low paired rainbow board. Gonna go ahead and put in a continuation bet for half pot. Won't be surprised if we get some real light floats on a board like that. It's going to start relatively high up in my range at that spot. He quickly folds, but had he floated, I was not planning to just automatically roll over with unpaired ace high. A board like that is just so hard for anybody to really have any kind of piece of. Raise, 3-bet, cold 4-bet jam for 40 blinds. 10-9 seems like a pretty easy fold facing that action. Table 4 seems pretty confirmed trash right off the bat. Give table 1 a little bit more of a chance. Table 4 is already pretty obvious. Table 3, open queen 10 on the button. Table 1, open deuces in the cutoff. Rick tried to leave the table. It's got to be the same guy showing back up. Open posting on 80 blinds. Table 1, the big blind defends. Get a very coordinated middle board. Jack 9-7 rainbow. Checks to me. I'm going to go ahead and put in a small continuation bet. absent finding that third deuce somewhere along the way, probably not going to get too involved in this hand. However, against the third deuce, I think that's going to be a pretty reasonable hand to keep blasting with. I think we'll use the overbet or check size here. Could also go more of a medium size, like 3/4, but I think it's okay to overbet or check there. Deuce is pretty blank. Straight sets, 2 pairs for the most part are raising that flop. I think I can overbet hands like pocket queens, ace jack without too much concern for running into something there. Table 3, gonna open king 10 under the gun. Sort of a borderline open, but with recreational players in the blinds, it becomes a very clear hand to play to me. Everyone folds except the big blind. Half stack big blind. We get a 9-8-6 two-tone board. Gonna go ahead and continuation bet half pot on that low connected board. You have a gut shot and overcards here. He comes along for the call. Turn is the 8 of spades. Board pairing flush closing turn card. I don't have any spade in my hand. I don't need to blast all my 10x here. I think I'm going to prioritize the unpaired 10x gut shots that have a spade and check back the ones without. So I will check my king 10. River is an ace. Gives me a reasonable chance to actually blow him off like a 6 or a 9 when that overcard hits. However, when he blasts for pot, I'm not about to try to bluff raise a fish at that point. I will gladly fold my king high. Table 2, 2.5 open from the cutoff. I am in the big blind with ace 9. I have a borderline call. I can go ahead and defend that. Probably fold ace 8 or worse, but call the ace 9. Flop a gut shot and ace high on 10-7-6 rainbow. Goes ahead and continuation bets about a third. I think I'd be looking to bluff raise the gut shots that have some kind of flush or backdoor flush draw. I think the ace high here with no real backdoor is just going to play better as a check call. Turn is a 9, giving me a second pair on the 4 straight board. 9-7 suited kind of close as a 3-bet here. Button versus big blind. With this guy being shorter, I'm going to go ahead and move it to the call range instead. Table 1, going to open ace 3 suited, blind on blind. Table 3, we get a king 7 deuce rainbow board, which checks through on the 10 of spades. I'll continue checking. Low board over here on table 1. I'm going to go ahead and check my ace high on that. Rick goes ahead and stabs the 10 on the turn. I'm going to check call my third pair. I'm going to just try to check down my second pair over here. Table 1, the flop checks through. Turn gives me a flush draw. We've got a 9 or on the jack of diamonds. I'm going to go ahead and overbet my flush draw at this point. He goes check bet bet, kind of a weird line. Check bet bet from a wreck. Especially, it's pretty bluffy. We're going to go ahead and call that down. King 6, reasonable way to play it. Now we're facing a half pot bet here on this 4 straight board from the reg. It's pretty bluffy, but the 4 straight turn tends to offset that pretty heavily. I think we'll go ahead and fold, but it's pretty close. Table 3, opening King 10 on the button. Not much doing in the way of tables right about now. I think I'll pull up a lower stake just to look for a game with some wrecks in it. Guess on an odd stack size using the 3x open. We'll try this one for a minute. Move the 1-2 games over to tables 2 and 4 on the right hand side. Swap out this other 1-2 game that doesn't seem to have much happening for it. .30 blind player, we'll go ahead and tag him. Got a half stack up here on the new table 1. Give that a whirl for a minute. This table 3 doesn't seem like much is really going on either. Dry time of day here, about 3 o'clock on the East Coast. Table 4, gonna open King Jack suited from the cutoff. Table 3, opening Ace Jack under the gun. Cutoff players calling me. Get squeezed, so I'm going to fold the Ace-Jack, but I may actually stick around a bit longer seeing this guy as a suspected reg from his excessive pre-flop cold calling. Table 2, got a min open under the gun. I'm in middle position with Ace-Jack. A little loose to 3-bet there. Table 2, opening 7s under the gun. Table 1, recreational player limps middle position. The cutoff goes ahead and pops him up to 3. I'm going to 3-bet out of my big blind with Ace-Queen, make it 12. Rec limp calls. Isolating player also calls. Out of position to 2 players, I'm going to check range on this King Jack 3 two-tone board. Table 2, I check to the imposition player on 9-6-5. A two-toner with pocket 7s. He goes and stabs for pot. I'm going to check call with my 7s and get to the turn. He quickly checks back the King of Clubs turn. River Jack of Clubs. Just going to try to show down my 7s. Expect to do it a lot. He quickly checks, and pocket 3s do not beat pocket 7s. My hand is good. The limp, and then cold calling the ISO and the 3-bet player goes and jams for 2x pot. I'll fold my gut shot there. If we can safely call this guy a recreational player now, though. Unfortunately, he's moved along. Trying times looking for games here this afternoon. Never mind, there's an open limp from the button on table 1. I'll limp the up behind the small blind with Queen 8. Table 3, open an Ace-King suited on the button. Table 4, opening pocket 4s on the button. Table 1 checks through on Jack 7-6 two-tone. Turns the 10. Actually gives me kind of a straight draw there. 9 is a gut shot to the 4-card straight. I'm going to go ahead and semi-bluff. Plan to follow through the river here in this limp pot that nobody's really shown too much desire for quite yet. So I take it down on the turn. Table 4, middle position limps. I'll isolate my cutoff with Ace-10. Isolation gets 3-bet out of the blinds. From 4.5 to 14, pretty reasonable size. Not going to be defending some of these troubled offsuit Broadway hands. A lot of suited Broadways, a lot of pocket pairs. Probably no 4-betting here. Probably just flat my entire continuation range, including hands like Ace King, fold Ace 10. Table 4, opening Queen 10 under the gun. Slightly loose, but going after these recreational players in the blinds. Get a raise and a re-raise button small blind. I'm in the big blind with King 10, a little bit too, or King Queen rather. King Queen off's a little bit too weak to call 4-bet. Just go ahead and fold that. Not calling anything here, cold 4-betting or folding with everything in my range. No cold calls. Squeeze opportunity on table 4 with pocket queens at 2.2 open for middle position. Recreational type player calls the button. I've got pocket queens, definitely going to go ahead and be 3-betting this. Three-betting suited Broadways, 9s or better, ace queen plus, maybe ace 5 suited, some range kind of like that. Table 3, open limp under the gun. I'll limp behind my small blind with queen 5 suited. Queen squeeze got through. Table 3, get a jack 4 deuce two-tone board, gonna check range at a position to both players here. Pick up a few decent turn cards. King isn't really one of them, however, this seems like such weak ranges here. Just gonna go ahead and start probing very weak and wide, trying to steal this from a player that's open limping and a big blind whose range is inherently any 2, except for the strong hands that would be isolated pre-flop. Table 1, we get a limp, then we get the button goes ahead and isolates to 3x. I'm in the small blind with pocket 7s. It's kind of close. Thought this guy was fishy. He probably is kind of fishy, actually. He's open limped a couple of times. I'm going to go ahead and play some of the close hands like pocket 7s for a 3-bet here. Now he limp and then min clicks back from 12 to 21. It screams strength to me. Weird shit going on today. Table 3, gonna open ace 10 from the cutoff. Now this guy goes ahead and cold calls the the limp re-raise. I gotta call 9 into 55 with pocket 7s. I'm gonna do that and look for that third 7. Table 2, flop checked her on. I'm gonna start probing my junk here against a couple of wrecks. Table 3, the small blind recreational player donk leads into me for half pot on this low 8-6 deuce rainbow board. Get called and raised on table 2, I'll fold my junk, but I will float my ace high here against that not terribly believable half pot donk lead on a board where there's all kinds of weak nonsense. I'm going to fold my 7s here on ace 10-8 here with all that action. He follows up for about 3/4 on the 7. I've got a gut shot and overcards. I'm not terribly convinced that this is a strong range. I'm just going to go ahead and flat again and evaluate the river. Probably try to steal this on the river depending on exactly what plays out. Table 1, going to open 7-5 suited on the button. He follows through with a half pot bet. Smaller bet via very easy bluff raise. This one's a little bit marginal against a wreck. I mean, I do block the straight and whatnot, but I think we'll let that go. That's a little smaller. I think I talked myself into it. Table 1, put in a small continuation bet on 9-7-3. Face a very small check raise with second pair and some backdoor, so I'll be floating that. Turn is the 9 of clubs, which doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form. Probably let this one go to continued aggression. Yeah, blast for almost pot. It'd be pretty easy fold at that point. Table 2, up an ace-10 in middle position. Table 3, facing a 2.5 open from the button. I'm in the big blind with pocket 9s. Going to go ahead and re-raise there. Table 2, 2 recreational players call me in position. Going to check range to both of them. I've got top pairs, solid kicker on ace 9-8 two-tone. Table 4, 2.5x open from the button. I'm going to go ahead and defend my big blind with ace-8. Check the flop. Pairing 8, I'm going to keep checking my ace at that point. Now the 8s are all in front of me. Give them a chance to just stab with air balls instead of looking for a lot of worse stuff to calm me down. He stabs half pot. A check call. Check again on the river. Now he bets full pot. Easier call for a smaller bet. I think it's probably still a pretty easy call here. I'm going to think about it a bit more. Table 4, going to open 7-6 suited blind down blind. Yeah, just snap off here. He did hit his trips, but what are you going to do? Trips are also where Rex like to start going crazy with bluffs, like a pairing card rather. Table 1, opening Queen Jack under the gun. Opening queens from the cutoff on table 3. Sorry, that was table 2 with Queen Jack. There is no table 1 right now. Going to check to the wreck on the queen, or I'm sorry, the 8-8 deuce 2-tone board on table 2. Table 4, recreational player calls me, get a 9-6-3 rainbow board. I'm gonna size up here with my overpair, start trying to get some money in now. I'll float with the diamond in my hand against the half pot stab against the wreck over here on table 2. Board pairing deuce, double board pairing card now. It's the second barrel. I'll just go ahead and fold. Table 3, open from the cutoff, 2.5. I'll 3-bet king queen on the button. Table 4, cutoff open limps, small blind limps behind. I've got ace 10 in the big blind. Gonna go ahead and raise that up. My king queen 3-bet got cold called by an out of position player. Then the RFI player comes along as well. I'm gonna go ahead and not range bet in position. I'll check back the king queen in that spot. Face a limp call on table 4. We're gonna go ahead and continuation bet half pot on that low board. 8-3 deuce. Turn is the 5. Now I've got 2 overcards and a gut shot, a little bit more than 1.5x pot. I think the move here actually is going to be just to ship it in, try to fold him off stupid floats or weak pairs, or outrun them if he calls me. Ship the rest in like I could do with vulnerable overpairs. And I get that one through. Occasionally something I do works, see? Occasionally. Whale limps on table 2 under the gun. I'll limp my small blind behind with queen 8. Another recreational player isolates out of the blind. I'll fold a hand as weak as that. Go ahead and pause for 1 sec. I'll be right back. I am back. Table 2, going to open ace 9 in the cutoff. Both recreational players call me from the button and the small blind. Big blind comes along too. Good but vulnerable hand on 9-6-5. Two-tone, top pair, top kicker. So I could bet because of the whales out there. I think it's going to be okay to play a range check here, this multi-way, especially without position. I'll go ahead and check that. In position player stabs half pot, folds out the small blind. Big blind comes along for a call. I think I can actually go ahead and check raise this just to kind of squeeze out some kind of equity, make equity type hands full that are calling along late. Not that worried about this guy having me beat on this particular board, at least at this juncture. And if I'm range checking, I can legitimately have sets and straights here. Folded out the big blind. Action killing turn, 4 straight, 7 out there. I'm going to go ahead and check. Now he blasts full pot. I am not going to start trying to bluff catch whales on 4 straight boards with marginal holdings. I will let that one go. A couple of recreational players limping over here on table 4. I'm going to isolate from the button with ace-4 suited. Table 3 open and 4s, blind down blind. Table 2 facing a 2.5 open from the button. I'm kind of a tight player, but still going to defend King-Jack, obviously. I get led into half pot by a player 30 blinds deep on Queen 5-4. I'm going to go ahead and float that for a call in position. I don't think I'm going to fold him off a queen or a 5 by raising, so I may as well keep his worst hands in. He checks to me on the 9. I'll check back. River is a 10. Fold second pair on the ace king 9 against the size up. He's going to let me show down for 1. I'm going to take my showdown here with my weak pair. Pocket 8s was always in big trouble, but I was probably never folding it out, so I'm okay with all that. Middle position with nines on table 3. Gonna go ahead and bring those in. Button flats me in position. First hand he's played. Not playing on a shorter broken stack. No reason to think that he's a fish at this stage. Probably like a reg. I'm gonna treat him as such. Get squeezed on table 3 by the big blind. I'm gonna not really play a flatting range here, just kind of 4-bet or fold. Nines is probably a little bit too out of line here to be 4-betting. I really wonder when to stack off queens plus ace king. I can just fold nines against the squeeze. Be better candidates to go 4-bet bluffs in that spot if I'm not playing a call range. Table 1, opening king queen on the button. Big blind comes along, checks to me on 7-4-3 rainbow. I'm going to go ahead and continuation bet half pot on the low connected board. Could also check a hand like this. Against the check raise without a whole lot in the way of backdoor equity, just going to go ahead and fold. We're drawing to overcards, no way to make straights or flushes there. Table 3, open an ace queen suited in middle position. On table 3, the small blind 3-bets me. I'm going to be pretty cautious in these earlier positions against 3-bets from the blinds. However, a hand like ace-queen suited is just such a good hand to defend against 3-bets with. That is certainly going to be in the call range, even if the call range is on the tight side. Table 2, open in king-jack from the cutoff. Table 3 will go ahead and put in that defense. Table 4, get a squeeze opportunity. Min-raise, a couple of recreational players flat behind. I'm in the big blind with ace-queen. Go ahead and squeeze that. Block bets on that 8 turn there. Called the small flop bet with top pair second kicker on ace 6-5 2-tone. I'm going to go ahead and call against that block bet. River is the queen, which gives me 2 pair but closes the flush. Very interesting card. Table 4, get a limper. I'm going to go ahead and limp behind with the ace 3 offsuit. He checks to me. I'm going to go ahead and put this in for value. I don't think that's too light here. My pocket aces faces a 3-bet. I'm going to go ahead and 4-bet to call off. Table 2, up an ace deuce suited under the gun. Like kings, aces, ace king suited here to call off. Maybe ace queen offsuit as a bluff. Table 2, recreational player calls me in position. I'm going to check ace deuce to him on queen queen 8. Turn is the king, putting the backdoor flush draw. I'm going to keep checking my weak ace high. Now stabs for half pot. Go ahead and call ace high at least once. River is the 4, flush closing 4. have a marginal spot here where he goes check, bet, bet. Bet's about 2/3, 67% of pot. That's a pretty bluffy line. Enough so that I'm just going to go ahead and hero call it, try to snap off. And I end up getting value ton by a slightly better ace. These guys are just clowning me like crazy today. Table 2, blind on blind, opening ace-5. Ace-5 suited. Recreational comes along in the big blind, getting Queen Jack 9 rainbow board. Gonna go ahead and put in a small continuation bet there. And continue barreling if I pick up hearts. He min raises me. Of course he does. Opening Jack 10 in the cutoff on table 1. I'm gonna defend the min raise with the backdoor flush right here just because it's such a good price. Now on the 4 straight turn, that 10, and he mashes the pot button, I will check fold my ace high. The morale is good, but the beatings continue anyway for me. Table 1, the big blind defends and checks to me on Queen 5-4 rainbow. I'm going to go ahead and put in a small continuation bet. Turn some straight draws on cards like a 9, a king, an 8, and an ace. Recreational player open limps middle position on table 3. I will isolate my button with ace-5 suited. Limp calls, get a 6-4-4 two-tone board. Going to put in a continuation bet. Go even smaller than typical because the stack pot ratio is just so low. Table, what you call it? Table 1, we get that 7. I don't really coordinate with my hand at all. Check back. I do have some odds to a second pair that can bluff catch or maybe value bet lightly. Table 3, flush closing turn, king of hearts. I'm going to check back, planning to bluff the river. River is the 3 of hearts, putting a 4 flush out there. He leads out for half pot, not bluff raising a recreational player. In a scenario like that, we face an overbet after rivering second pair. Riverbet's fairly neutral. I think this one should be a fold. It's pretty close. Hard to find natural bluffs there, though. Table 3, opening Queen Jack. From the cutoff, face a 3-bet. Instantly fold that. Table 2, opening pocket 7s from middle position. Min open from a whale under the gun on table 2. I'm in the big blind with ace jack. Gonna go ahead and defend pretty liberally here against that good size and against the unskilled player. We'll check to him on King Jack 8 two-tone. He continuation bets 3/4. I'll check call my second pair. Turn is the 5 of clubs. He stabs, or continuation bets the turn half pot for that small size. I will continue. River is the 7 of clubs, closing the backdoor flush draw. Value tells me without kicked second pair by 1 rank, the queen kicker against my jack kicker. Open pocket threes from what's middle position over here on table 2. Get called in position. Going to check range to the in position player on 6-5 deuce rainbow. Can check call pocket threes here. Stabs for half pot, to which I check call. Get the 7 term, which I don't love, as now the 4 gives me the low end of the straight. Someone has a hand like pocket 8s, which is not an unreasonable hand to call pre-flop and stab the flop with. He continues betting really only against overcards right here now that are, I'm only still good against that. Can be against strong hands as well. I will fold to the second barrel with pocket 3s. Not giving this guy credit for having lots of Broadway type stuff that he's barreling with indiscriminately. Table 3, opening queen jack from middle position. We have a couple of decent tables here, so I'm going to stick this out. Crawl back down to $50 again, looking for more tables with Rex. A broken stack, that's a good start. I'm going to open 7-6 suited from middle position in table 4. Slightly loose, but weak player in the blinds. Nothing wrong with that. Reasonable hand to open some of the time anyway. However, when I face the 3, but I'll just go ahead and fold that one. Lost my broken stack up here. Lost one of the recreational players over here as well. Probably the same guy. Min open for middle position on table 4. I've got Jack 7, which is really not all that great a hand, even for the price. So I'll just go ahead and fold it. Plus, he's tight, nitty, over 73 hands. If anything, I need to be even more cautious. Oh, I think we got the same rec back. I'm good with that. Gonna open Jack 10 for middle position on table 2 with the recreational player in position to me. We lost one, but the other one's still here. Get a 7-8-4 two-tone board. I've got a gut shot and 2 overcards. I'm going to go ahead and continuation bet this one out. I'm thinking that's a much better option than check calling or check raising. I turned some showdown value there with the 10. I'm going to go into a check call line here on the turn, give him a chance to start stabbing. River is the 6 of clubs, closing the flush and putting the 4 straight out there. I think I'm just going to try to block bet to get called by one pair hands in the flop. I'm not going to try to induce bluffs. I'm not going to try to get bigger value out of it. However, when I get raised, I am going to give that a lot of credit. I think I like the block and then fold to a raise there better than checking down. Better than check calling or check folding. Cutoff opens 2.5 on table 2. I'm in the big blind with pocket kings. Go ahead and put in the 3-bet with that one right there. Unfortunately, I have not 3-bet once at this table for whatever reason, so I'm sure I look super nitty when it comes to 3-betting. Obviously not my intention, just the way the distribution of cards fell. Ashamed to be picking up pocket kings after, you know, an hour and a half of not 3-betting at the table. That's the one I decided to 3-bet. I suspect I had exactly the kind of hand I did have, even though I was not intentionally playing like a nit. Table 2 open 9-8 blind on blind. Get a 2.5 button open from a very tight player over here. He's played 11-10 over 62 hands. Would normally be 3-betting my suited aces button versus cutoff, but when a guy like this is playing so tight, not using his usual ranges or his standard red ranges, I'm going to be a bit more snug and fold. Table 1 blind on blind, 3x open. I will 3-bet the king 10 suited. Quickly get called, get a jack 7 deuce two-tone board. No real piece of it except some light backdoor straight draws. I'm going to go ahead and put in a small continuation bet, and I take it down quickly even without money. Much going for the hand itself. Table 2 opening jack 10 on the cutoff. Table 1 opening 10-9 on the button. Table 1 big blind defends. Get a king queen 7 rainbow board. I've got the gut shot. Table 2 the small blind recreational player defends. Get ace 10-9 rainbow board. I'm going to go ahead and put in small continuation bets on both. The 10-9 hand, I can certainly be following through on lots of turns. The Jack 10 hand, I'm looking to check back a lot. That ace turn's a fine one to check back for sure. Go ahead and check back Jack 10. River is the Jack, giving me 3 pair. Leads out for half pot, recreational player, betting half pot. I got short on value. I call. I beat pocket sixes. Table 1, middle position opens. I'll 3-bet the cutoff with ace king. He quickly 4-bets me. In position against a middle position 4-bet. Slightly smaller size than typical. Actually, no, that's about right. Yeah, it's almost exactly what I would have done. Hit my eyes wrong for some reason. Gonna go ahead and shove in my kings and my ace king over the top here. Crap with aces. Call a lot of other pocket pairs. I wouldn't say a lot. Like queens, jacks. Probably call like tens and ace queens suited. Be pretty cautious against 4-bets in that tighter formation. Not so cautious that ace king is not getting its chips in the middle for 100 blinds. That's for damn sure. Get a min open from the whale in the middle position on table 2. I'm in the big blind with ace 6. This one's slightly loose to defend. Very tempting, though. Got 5-4 blind on table 4. We use a huge nit. I'm going to get this through way more often than I should against a guy with these tendencies, so I'm going to open it. Of course, no sooner do I say that than he instantly 3-bets me, and I go ahead and fold. Recreational player open limps the cutoff on table 3. I'll go ahead and isolate from the button with on table 4 rather. I'll isolate from the button with ace 8. Open in 3s on the button on table 2. The ace 8 hand, he limp calls, checks to me on queen 3-3 rainbow. I'm gonna go ahead and put in a small continuation bet. Recreational big blind calls on table 2, checks to me on jack 9-4 rainbow. I'll put in a small continuation bet there too. Both players limp call. Both these hands look to make pretty good checkbacks. The 3 has some showdown value. He donk leads for about half pot. I'm going to call that and evaluate the river. Or just hit my 3 for the full house. Table 4, I'm just going to go ahead and check back my ace high. Try to show this down. Now he bets 11. I don't think I'm going to get too many folds, at least not nearly enough folds for pretty much any size. I'm going to show down the ace 8, but the full house hand, we're going to go ahead and get that in. Paul has about 38, 39 there. It's about 1.5x pot, but we're just going to ship it in and hope he can't bring himself to fold. Unfortunately, he folded instantly, but at least I win the pot. Table 2, under the gun opens. I'll fold the king 4 suited from the cutoff. Parent recreational player limps blind on table 4. I'll pop him up with ace 7. He limp calls, get a 10-8 deuce rainbow board. He checks to me. I'll put in a small continuation bet. Checking turns for the most part, though I guess he'll Cards like 6s and 9s make reasonable hands to continue betting. I think the jack is a bit too slim of a draw, so I'll check back this particular one there, as that card does coordinate as well. Now I've got the 4 straight, the low end of the 4 straight on that 9 river. They just be calling here. Hard for him to have the queen. He leads out for 2/3. Let's go ahead and call that. He had 2 pair on the flop. Recreational open limps the button. I'll limp behind the small blind with ace-5 on table 4. Get an ace-3 deuce 2-tone board. I've got top pair and the gut shot. I'll check to both in position players. Planning to check call here. Checks through, turn is the 10 of clubs. I'm going to go out and bet out my weak ace for value. Don't want to let higher clubs draw for free. Table 2, we get a 2.5x open from the cutoff. I'm in the big blind with ace-9 suited. That one's pretty close, but I'll defend it for a call. Flop a flush draw on king-10 3 2-tone. The recreational player in position, he calls. I'm going to go ahead and block bet, try to get called by a 10. Table 2, I'm going to check raise my nut flush draw against a small continuation bet. My block bet gets raised, and raised a pretty healthy size. And go ahead and give him credit there. Table 1, going to open king-8 suited from the button. Get a king turn. I'm going to go ahead and continue betting. Use the 2/3 size there with all those draws still out there. 2/3, 3/4. Table 4, opening jack-8 from the button. Slightly loose, but going after the rec in the big blind. Table 1, going to continuation bet small on ace-jack-jack 2-tone. I get called again. Backdoor flush completes. I'm going to go ahead and just bluff off here for 2x pot. Instantly got it through. Table 4, going to continuation bet small with my jack-8 on king-10 9. Turn is the queen, putting a force threat there, which I have. I'm going to continue betting this. Probably check back some jacks, more so the ones that block pairs. The ones that do not, I think I'll just keep betting for value here. Now let's see, 5 straight on the board, and the ace is actually the nut or butter. Now he leads out for half pot. I don't think I should try to raise him off here. I'm just going to call and be chopping most of the time. Table 1, going to defend blind on blind with pocket deuces. Table 3, going to 3-bet the button up from the small blind with king-queen. On the ace-king-10 blind battle board, I'm going to check back the deuces. Table 4, going to open king-9 blind on blind. Table 3, going to continuation bet. I think I should. That's a low board. Maybe that board doesn't really hit me that hard. I guess I can actually check range on the 9-3 deuce board. Fold the deuces over here. I'm also going to be shutting down the session here, as my tables are breaking. Hard finding go ones. I'm pretty close to when I plan to take a break anyway. King Queen hand, I'm just going to go ahead and check fold with 2 overcards, no backdoors, no club on the club draw flop. And check raise by flush draws, backdoor flush draws. Pair type hands can check raise pretty aggressively there. I've got all kinds of whiffed over cards there. Table 3, open an 8-6 suited. King 6 suited under the gun on table 3. No apparent recreational players left, so I'll fold a close one like that. Got a 3x open from a recreational player playing about 65 blinds deep under the gun. I'm on the button with ace 6 suited. That one's a little bit loose in there. It's really the worst suited ace. He also on the shorter side hasn't been that out of line with this hand so far. 17, 13 through 23 hands. Fold one that's somewhat questionable. I think very reasonable to lay down. Table 1, open ace queen for middle position. Big blind comes along for a call. Get a king 6-5 two-tone board. I do have the ace of clubs in my hand, which seems somewhat relevant here. Go ahead and put in a small continuation bet. Check raise small. I've got the overcard, some backdoor draws. I want to be defending hands that can allow me to have really good hands on all runouts, including single club hands here, especially against that small size. So I'm going to float this. Turn is the 6. Board pairing card. That reduces the amount of sets that he has now. Trying to think of his merit in stabbing against the check. He continues betting. I don't have any equity that came in, so I'll just let that one go at that point. More interesting against the check in that scenario than against the bet. 4 deuce under the gun. Go ahead and fold that one. Last hand for now, so I'm going to cut the session. Till next time, thank you for watching. This is Charlie Murphy signing off.